Oh, hey everybody, how you doing? I seem to have found myself in an interesting situation. Somehow, and don't ask me how, I have acquired not one op fruit, not two op fruits, but three op fruits! What am I gonna do with this many hearts? It's like I'm playing a Zelda game. I'm starting with the little three hearts over myself. Wish me luck, I suppose. I don't know. This is. Do I explode if I eat more than one? I don't know what this means. All right. Anyway, it's a very popular devil fruit, but hey, there's a lot of devil fruits out there now, right? We can have a whole assortment with the One Piece magazine and all the different artwork that Oda's creating for them, right? It's just the op fruit is like the most popular one, right? Okay. Anywho, I feel like the flashback is going to be ending soon. We had the big, apex of this at God Valley, like the crescendo of what this flashback's going to be. I don't think you could really top this. Maybe a couple more chapters to kind of just like the falling action to sort of just like ease us back into where this flashback originally started with Loki telling the story of how Harald died. So maybe we'll bookend it with that. And then we're going to go back to the present day in ELBAPH at Branch 8 with Gunko being possessed by Emu and Killingham and Summers there and an army of nightmare creatures that are now, being ordered around by the evil giant warrior pirates. You got evil Dory and evil Broggy there. And I feel like it's probably right around now that I should make a recap video to just kind of point out where everybody's at. All right, so when we eventually get back to the present, we have our bearings. We know where everyone is located. We know what people are doing, and so on and so forth. Okay, that seems like a good idea to you. It seems like a good idea to me. Watch, this flashback still goes on for like another 6 months. Hey, whatever. Whenever the flashback ends, watch this video. That's the idea. All right. So, we're going to start with the main cast. We're going to start with the Straw Hats to see where they're all at right now, okay? And then we'll move on to the other groups. I think I wrote down everybody. I wrote down a lot of characters here. There's actually a lot of moving parts with ELBAPH at the moment, right? So starting off with Luffy, he is down in the Primordial Realm listening to Loki's sad crybaby backstory. I am the most interested on how Luffy overall is going to view this flashback and the story of Loki and Harald, but I am the most interested on what Luffy has to say about Rox and his story. Now, keeping in mind, Loki was not present on God Valley, so I don't know how much of the flashback that we are seeing as the reader Loki is saying right now, right? Because Loki was not there to see Rox turn into an evil demon and for Roger and Garp to defeat him. Is Loki saying that? Is he just making it up from his best guess? Is this whole flashback just Loki's like fan fiction on what happened in God Valley? Probably not. But still, Shanks was the person that inspired Luffy, and in this arc especially, Luffy is bringing up Shanks a lot, much to the annoyance of Zoro even. But Rox was that figure for Loki. So I'm really curious on if like, and Luffy is not going to probably go on some crazy monologue or soliloquy about, you know what, Loki, you shouldn't have looked up to Rox or any of that shit. But whatever Luffy says about it's probably going to be like 1 or 2 sentences, maybe even only 1 or 2 words. But I'm interested. I'm interested on Luffy's thoughts on Rox's character and who he was and things like that based off of the story Loki is telling. Because, like, after the events of, like, Odin, after they heard about Odin's flashback, Luffy was, like, interested in Odin, and I think Luffy would have liked to meet him, back when he was still alive and things like that, right? So we'll see how that goes with Rox. Zoro and Sanji, I'll group them together, are heading up to the Sun Realm right now. They left with the other members of the new Giant Warrior Pirates. They're going on ahead of Luffy, all right? So they are probably going to reach the Sun Realm. I would assume as soon as we get back to the present, they are going up the lift. They reach that place, and so then they are going to join the fight. I would assume that Zoro and Sanji are going to fight against Killingham and Summers. I would assume that Sanji is going to be the one to fight Summers, because Summers, from what we can see in the flashback and also the present, particularly likes to torture women, especially he's the one that, wrapped Robin up in the thorns and everything like that. I think Summers has earned a Sanji ass-kicking, okay? So we're probably going to see that. And then Zoro, I would assume, fighting against Killingham with all the nightmare creatures. There's there's a lot of crazy nightmare monsters for Zoro to cut up. It should make for a really interesting battle. I think the aesthetics of Zoro. Hey, do you ever want to see Zoro cut a dragon's head off again? Because we can do that now, right? We can see Zoro fighting against the Needhog and shit like that. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited for that, really. Are they ultimately going to be defeated by Gunko Imu, though? Are Zoro and Sanji going to be Domi Reversi'd? Actually, you know what? One of the Straw Hats, at least, bare minimum, one of them, maybe more, I think are going to get Domi Reversi'd. I feel like Oda's setting up that thing, like, that has to happen. I don't think it can be Luffy, because Luffy has the powers to probably reverse the Domi Reversi, because, you know, he's the white pieces on the board, and Emu is the black pieces on the board, you know, but I could see this. I could totally see this. All right, Nami, she is tied up right now. She's a little tied up right now on Branch 8 with Gunko's power, which even despite the fact that Emu is currently possessing Gunko's powers are still holding steady with the Arrow Nomi ability, wrapping up Nami, Usopp. Robin is restrained via the Thorn powers from Summers, so different ability, but still restrained, as well as Brook and Jinbei are all restrained right now in the same general location, so I would assume using a regular knife, because Robin tried freeing them that way. That didn't work. But if Zoro shows up and uses an armament hockey infused like Enma or something, I'm assuming that would be able to cut through the thorns and cut through the arrow rope, you know, the bindings that are holding them down, and then they will be able to join the fight. I hope. I hope to God. All right? Now, Jinbei's capable of using armament hockey too, but maybe it's a particular kind of like slashing motion that you need, or you need Conqueror's hockey to really, you know, cut through the threads or something like that. I could see it that way. So hope to God they join in, right? Chopper is also in the primordial realm right now, and he is tending to Scopper Gyaban, who was injured by Gunko, all right? Chopper has already specifically said, I think I should stay down here and watch over Scopper, Luffy. So Chopper is sort of, look, Chopper pulled off a lot of stuff in this arc already. He's already kind of had his MVP moment. He was the one that immediately was like, I gotta go save Scopper. This guy knows how to defeat the immortal God Knights. I need to go save his life and, you know, make sure he could tell us what's going on. And he did. So Chopper, you get, you know, the first prize. Good job, buddy. You get to stay out the rest of the fight. He's like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna stay down here. Best case scenario, you guys win. Worst case scenario, we're all dead. And so whatever at that point, right? Who knows? Maybe Chopper might, you know, join the fight, though, after Scopper is, like, you know, stabilized and he's not in any danger of dying. Maybe Chopper will be like, they need me. And then he returns into Jumping Point, which he just never uses anymore. Actually, I don't even know if he can go into Jumping Point anymore, because it seemed to be replaced by Kung Fu Point. There were two forms. There was Arm Point, I think, got replaced by Kung Fu Point, and then there was another one that he goes into now. I think it's just his monster form that replaced the Jumping Point. Whatever. He goes into Jumping Point, and he jumps all the way up to the Sun Realm, and he rejoins the fight to deliver the finishing blow on Emu. That could happen, totally. But no, he's staying down to make sure Scopper's okay. Then we have Frankie. Frankie is, like, separate from all the other Straw Hats right now. He's not tied up with the rest of them. He's not in the primordial realm. He is with Ripley's group right now. Ripley was giving Frankie a tour of the tree and looking around the Yggdrasil tree and everything like that, and they saw the facility that was like 3,000-year-old facility on ELBAPH that was Lilith and Bonney were kind of exploring and looking at, and then everything happened with the nightmare creatures, and Frankie even defeated one, and now they're all heading towards where the children are to try to save them. Okay, Ripley is obviously Colin's mother, so she's going to go save her son, and then Frankie's backing her up. Can we have some Frankie moments? This is the perfect time for Frankie to do some cool shit in the story, and he's not restrained or anything, so please, can we do something cool? I really don't want this to be a thing where Frankie shows up, he's like, here I am to save the day. Oh, I got caught in the thorns. Sorry, guys, can't help you. It's like, no, Frankie is the only one right now that's, like, available to, like, show up. He might show up before Zoro and Sanji get up there, honestly. So let's see some cool shit from Frankie here, please. Please, you know? Now I know how everybody... Okay, wait a minute. This is crazy. I now know how most people felt in Wano when they were really, really expecting some crazy Zoro lore. I mean, a lot of people were saying, you know, Wano's gonna be Zoro's arc. And there were things focusing on Zoro, don't get me wrong, but probably wasn't as much of a Zoro arc that people expected. And I know a lot of people are expecting Usopp to have his moment right now in ELBAPH, and... I mean, we don't know how much of ELBAPH is left, but I mean, like, okay. They had Usopp in the first half. But if in the second half of ELBAPH, after we're done with this little interlude, this flashback, Usopp, he's had enough. He's going to break out of those bindings. He's just going to flex his muscles. The training that he did on the Boeing Islands with Heracles, and Heracles will just, he's like, what would Heracles do at a moment like this? And little thought bubble of Heracles shows up and just like, Usoppin, you need to use them gains. And Usopp's like, yes! Ugh! He just breaks the bindings, and he goes and he starts beating the crap out of the evil giants. Sure. And then also Frankie. Frankie, I mean, Egghead would have probably been his arc, if anything, and it wasn't, so unfortunate. But this moment, we might have some stuff with Frankie. Brook, really quick. Brook was also restrained with everybody else, but he also has the connections with Gunko. There's like some kind of flashback involving them. The way that I'm viewing that flashback at the moment with Brook and Gunko is that I don't think Gunko grew up in the same kingdom that Brook did. What I think happened, considering she is a member of the Manmeyer family right now, what I'm assuming happened was that Brook, being the what was it called? Not the Royal Guard. He was part of the battle convoy. That's what it was. He was a battle convoy for this particular kingdom in the West Blue. So he was guarding something important. I'm thinking he was guarding the royal family. So maybe in a way he was part of the Royal Guard. Every 4 years, there's a reverie. So I think every 4 years, he was part of the guards that went to reverie with the king and queen of his kingdom. And while at reverie, he met Gunko. And he would play his songs, and Gunko really liked him, and was just like, oh, Brook, I can't wait to see you again in 4 years. Like, yo, ho, 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 I'll be back. And so maybe this went on a couple of times, a few reveries. You know, Brook would come back every 4 years, and he was like, oh, Gunko, how have you been? And play the songs, and everybody's happy. And then maybe 1 year he went back, and Gunko was gone. Or 1 year, finally Brook decided to leave the kingdom for whatever reason, and become a pirate and travel with Yorkie as the Rumbar crew. And you know, Brook never came back to Marijois and never met Gunko again. And maybe that was the moment where she got, like, drafted into joining the Gods Knights, or Emu took an interest in her or something like that, right? Because she was a member of, like, Emu's, like, servants before she was a member of the Gods Knights. So, yeah, it might have been something like that. If she was a member of the Manmeyer family and lived in Marijois originally, might have been something on how Brook got to know her, because he was part of this battle convoy for this kingdom, and every 4 years would have went to Marijois. That's what I'm thinking right now. Jinbei, I mean, come on, Jinbei, get freed and start kicking ass. I mean, that's what you do, man. You kick ass. You're Jinbei. Okay. And then Robin. Robin had a really cool moment with Summers. You know, she was really, thoughtful and tactical and everything like that, using a clone to fight him. And even like, okay, I can't defeat you. You can regenerate. I'm going to knock you over the edge, and then I'll get you out of range so the thorn powers disappear and the children can be rescued. And that didn't end up working. He used like his thorns as like a bungee cord to, stay attached. And he arrived back on the branch there. And so she's all restrained now. And so she's actually, I think last time we saw her, she was like desperately trying to just rip off the thorns to get out by force. She can still use her ability. She can make her arms spawn around her, even though her physical body is like restrained. But she's really trying to get out right now because the library is burning down at the moment, and the school. And she is like, oh, not again. Not what's happening with Ohara again. So even if it results in her literally like peeling off her skin to get out, I think she would do that. She can also make clones, right? Why couldn't she just make a clone of herself that's freed of the thorns and have that clone run towards the library? Maybe it's because like it requires a certain amount of stamina. She did get a little bit beat up during the fight. Maybe she can only make a certain number of clones a day or something like that. Not really sure the rules on the Hana Hana no Mi there, but yeah. And then Nami also. Nami's gonna kick ass too, because like children are being like threatened here and are being held hostage. So Nami gets freed. She's also gonna go help the children instantly, obviously. So those are the Straw Hats. Then we have Saul. Saul was defeated and knocked out. He's not dead. He's laying down right now, kind of covered in a briar of thorns, so moving at all is going to cause him probably some injury. But at one point, I think he is going to get back up and be like, you can't stop me! I'm invincible! I've already escaped death once! I want to see a cool moment with Saul where he gets back up and despite the pain, charges through. Just don't have Saul die. That would be so rough if, like, no, this time he's gonna die. And we're gonna see it happen, right? We're gonna see his head cut off in real time. And I was like, no, please, no. It's like, don't have him survive just to kill him again. Oh man, that would be rough. I mean, if that did happen, I mean, Robin would just go ham on like everybody at that point. She's just like, I don't even care. She would awaken her true power. She would do that scene like Madara when he summoned all the different Susanos all at once. You know, all at that point is like Robin just, you know, creates like 100 demonios just like to rampage. He's like, you want to see nightmare creatures? Here we go. Right? That would be insane. All right. Then the new giant warrior pirates. Okay, so Goldberg, along with his shield, Nash, who may or may not be the soul of his dead father, Road, and Stanson are all heading up along with Zoro and Sanji to the Sun Realm to support everybody there. So considering they are the new giant warrior pirates, I think they are going to try to fight against and restrain the giant warrior pirates that have been turned by the Domi Reversi. So it'd be cool to see like Stanson and Road and Goldberg teaming up against Dory and Bragi. Like they're going to be the ones, and the other giant warrior pirates that haven't been turned, all fighting against their former captains and trying to restrain them and trying to like get them to like, please remember who you are, Dory and Bragi. Maybe something like that. I could see that. And then if not, like fighting the nightmare creatures as well. Gerd is staying down below and is helping Loki. All right, because she's a doctor as well. She's staying down in the primordial realm to help Loki and Scopper as well. Loki, he wants to be freed. He even said, hey, tag me in, coach. You know, let me go, Hiruden. Please release me. I now know how to fight them. Scopper told me about the Conqueror's Hockey. I know what needs to be done now, exactly. And so Hiruden's like, we're not going to let you go. What if you end up siding with the world government? So the whole condition for letting Loki go is him telling this, like, 7-hour backstory on what's going on with Harold and everybody, right? And then, you know, if Hiruden is convinced, then he'll let him go. Even Scopper said, hey, I think we need to let him go. We are up shit creek without a paddle now, Hiruden. It's time to release Godzilla. The Godzilla threshold has been reached. It is time we release Loki. Even if he does end up making things worse in the long run, we need his power now, right? We just absolutely do. Now, Gerd did say that he's so banged up and injured, it's going to take Loki several months in order to heal. Thankfully, it's been like 6 months with this flashback, so he should be all healed up and ready to go. He'd be like, oh man, I had to draw out that flashback as long as I could. Now I'm fully healed. He rips off all of his bandages, like, let's go. It's like, all right, yeah, it's been a while, right? Okay, so Loki is definitely going to be freed and is going to join the fight. Hiruden is also down in the primordial realm listening to the story right now. So the people listening to the story are Hiruden, and then Luffy, Chopper, and Scopper Gibbon, and Gerd as well. And then, Loki being the one telling it. Okay. Then we have Ripley, who I said is with Frankie right now. They're heading to go save the kids. Also, all of the other mothers of the kids as well are being mobilized, and they're resisting the Conqueror's Hockey. They have Mother's Hockey, which is even stronger, and they're going to go and try to save their children, obviously. Then we have Dory and Bragi. They are Domi Reversi demons that are, amassing now their army of nightmare creatures behind them that Killingham has created. And like, let's go! ELBAPH will be a place where only the strong reign. So for right now, I guess Oimo and Kashi might as well take over as the de facto captains of the crew while this is all going on, right? Oimo and Kashi are, I guess, the next ones that we know of that are named characters and everything like that. So, Kashi, you kind of got the shit kicked out of you by Dull, so I'm gonna vote for Oimo. Oimo, it's up to you. You need to be the one to rule the Giant Warrior Pirates for right now. And Oimo's like, oh no, man. Hey, time to nut up or shut up, Oimo. It's time. All right. And I think Oimo, one of Oimo's kids or grandkids, are one of the ones that are being held hostage at the moment. So yeah, Oimo, he's gonna be the one. Then we have Jarl. Last time we saw Elder Jarl, he was in the village, and he was like, real warriors never rest, or real warriors never retire kind of shit. So it seemed like Jarl had had enough, and he was mobilizing the Western Village together, like, we will go fight. We are warriors of ELBAPH, right? And so we'll see how that goes. And he still has the sword in his head, which apparently is Harald's sword that was lodged in his cranium. So maybe he pulls that out, and maybe it turns out Jarl was evil this whole time. Woo! Another twist. So many twists in this arc, and turns as well. How many more twists and turns could there be? But yeah, Jarl is mobilizing the village, it seems. Then we have Angie and Principal Kiba and Biblo. They were members of the Owl Library and of the school, the Walrus School. Kiba was the principal. There's some other teachers there too. Angie was the librarian alongside Saul. And then Biblo the Owl. I feel like there's I feel like Biblo's going to give a shit about the fact that his library is burning down to the ground right now. So you've just pissed off an ancient bird. You do not want to piss off an ancient bird. Emu, you fucked up. Your plan was perfect until you torched the fucking magical ancient bird's library. Biblo is going to wake up, look around, see all the books burning, and he's going to be like, hoot, hoot, who did this? And then he's going to fly out, see Emu, and kick their fucking ass. All right? You don't mess with Biblo. But yeah, I'm assuming Biblo's going to have an opinion on this, right? We haven't really seen what's going on with him, so we'll see. Then we have Bonney and Lilith. I think they're still staying behind in the facility. I don't think they're going to really be involved. Although, Bonnie's ability to turn into a sun god form, like a Gear 5 form like Luffy, the Nika form, I think that would be useful right about now, especially if we're doing Domi reversey shit. I think having another sun god around, well, Road is also going. Road, thank God, is also a sun god. So Loki is as well. So, you know, with Luffy, Loki, Road, and Bonney, Emu's outnumbered. I'm just saying right there, okay? Let's see. So, yeah, Bonney and Lilith, I don't think they're going to really be involved in the fight right now, especially considering what happened at Egghead. Lilith's like, I'm the only Vegapunk left. I need to stay. I need to make sure I don't die, because that's a problem. I need to stay alive long enough to resuscitate the Stella clone, you know? So I don't think Lilith's going to really get involved here. Then we have the Gods Knights. Shamrock has went back to Marijois. I think he might show up again, too, especially if the time dilation thing is actually true. That theory happens. Might emerge through the abyss at some point. It's only been like half an hour for him when he left ELBAPH, but it might be several days from his perspective, or hours, who knows, right? We have Gunko, currently possessed by Emu. Just when Gunko was beginning to remember who she really was and remembered Brook, that was when Emu took over. So if she gets unpossessed, it would be nice to follow up on that plot line there. But Emu is now currently just lording over everybody and like, okay, we will make the giants, bend the knee, and they will accept, the world government and Mu's power as the grandest one, right? So I don't know if anybody's going to be able to stop Emu other than Luffy, and when he finally shows up, obviously we'll have a fight there when he goes into Sun God form. But until then, I mean, we could see Zoro and Sanji try. I don't think they're going to get very far, but we could see them try. We could even have a moment where Zoro's like learns the Conqueror's Haki trick that Scopper told him. Zoro defeats Killingham, and then it's like, all right, let me try the same trick with Emu, and it doesn't work. So it might be something like that. Killingham is in his hybrid form, running around, blowing his horns, summoning more nightmare creatures from the fissures. He does mention that having them around too long, they are creatures of pure malice. They will eventually just end up destroying one another. So that's a very interesting caveat to his powers, the Kirin zone. So eventually, they're just going to start like self-destructing. How long does that take? 30 minutes, an hour, longer? Who knows? Keep it in mind, though. Summers is just around right now, carrying out the orders of Emu. Killingham is he was hanging out by the library, but then I think he left to go to another location last time we've seen them, and then the nightmare creatures are being resuscitated all over the place. Then we just have the 10 children, maybe 11 now, including Colin. There's Colin, Ylva, Scotty, Olaf, Colleen, Mug, Ronya. Ronya was the one that we kind of had a focus chapter on, where she was the one that was like, this is fine. This is okay. Oh, being held hostage. Okay, this is good. Oh, being thrown over the edge. Yeah, that's all right. I'll end up fine. I don't want to cause problems for anybody. This is just fine. And she was like crying the entire time she was doing it. So we focused on Ronya a bit. Then Bent, then Johanna, then Bjorn. So there's 10. There's 10 kids. We focused on some of them so far, like Ronya. Bent was mentioned. His mom was like, I'm coming to save you, Bent. Ylva is the great-great-granddaughter of Jarl. And then we, of course, have Colin, who's the son of Scopper and Ripley. People have actually asked, considering we know about Buccaneers now, is Colin a Buccaneer? Because he's the son of a giant and a human. I don't think he would be. I think he's still a giant. Maybe Buccaneers or something else, like through the generations. I'm not really sure. But I think Colin is half giant. I think he's still a giant. But maybe he could be classed as a Buccaneer. Not sure. And Colin, of course, is the one that kind of screwed everything up. I'm not blaming him. He's just a kid. He's like, Dad, you're here to save me. And Scopper's like, shit. Oh, man, if you just wouldn't have said that. It's okay, Colin. I'm here to save you. He used his future sight and saw him get stabbed. I'm like, okay, I give up. you know, you're going to kill my kid. And that's when Gunko stabs him. You know, if Colin just would have just stayed quiet for just like 2 additional seconds, Scopper might have been able to take out Gunko. Oh, dude. But hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? He was happy to see his dad, you know? Did you ever have a moment where your parents showed up at school? I remember this one time in 1st grade, we were all making Christmas ornaments, and he's like, okay, kids, Mrs. Barbario's class. I always remember this. Mrs. Barbario, it was like the day before Christmas break. She was like, okay, students, we were making gingerbread houses, and then we was like, okay, we're done with the gingerbread houses. We're now going to make Christmas ornaments, and we have a special surprise for you. And they opened the door to our classroom, and all of our parents walked in, and my dad was there. My dad went to his supervisor at work. He was working at Coca-Cola at the time, and he's like, hey, can I leave for like 2 hours to go help my kid at the elementary school? And they let him leave. And so my dad walked in wearing his Coca-Cola uniform and his shirt and everything, and I was like, Dad, you're here. And we sat down. I showed him my desk and everything, and we made a Christmas ornament together. I still have it, actually. You know what? I'm gonna go grab it. I'm having a fuzzy holiday memory right now. I'm gonna go grab the Christmas ornament. But yeah, Colin was just happy to see his dad. Hold on, teleportation powers. All right, here we go. Yeah, here's the ornament right here. 1999, little piece of plastic with glitter in it. And then there's my dorky face from 1st grade. Wow, aside from the beard, I haven't really changed much. I still have the same haircut, effectively. There's me from 1st grade. But anyway, yeah, this little Christmas ornament me and my dad made when I was like in elementary school way back in the 90s, way back in the last century. So yeah. Colin's at school and his dad showed up. He was happy to see him. All right, anyway, that's the video. That's where everybody's at right now. Let me know who you're the most excited to see some cool shit from. For me, let me go down this list really quick. I mean, obviously, Zoro, Luffy, Sanji. I want to see some cool stuff from them. Frankie, Robin. They're getting check marks by their names. I want to see some cool shit from them. Let's see. You know what? Out of all of the new Giant Warrior Pirates, I think I want to see what's up with Goldberg and his shield. I want to get a little bit more lore with them. And Road. I kind of want to see Road do some cool things, right? You know, he started off this arc as a creep and a little bit of a weirdo, but I want to see where Road goes with this, okay? Ripley. I want to see some cool shit from Ripley. Let's see. And you know what? Biblo. Biblo the Owl. I want to see some cool stuff with Biblo as well. All right. Let me know all that stuff down below, who you're most invested in at the moment, and how long this flashback's going to last until we get back to the present, current events in the One Piece story. Thanks for watching, everybody. Tekking, signing out.